We are in section 11.1, number 13. So to find the perimeter, we have to find these two missing sides. So first let's use this right triangle on the right with a hypotenuse of 10 and a leg of 5 to find this other leg, B. So we want a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we subtract 25 from 100, that would be 75. And b is equal to the square root of 75. Now we can use that to find the hypotenuse of this triangle. So this time I'll just go ahead and I will call this leg A. So this leg is A, this leg is B, the hypotenuse is C. 30 squared plus the square root of 75 squared is equal to C squared. 900 plus, this would be 75, the square root of 75 times the square root of 75 is 75, equals C squared. So we would just want to take the square root of 975, which we get approximately 31.22. And now we're ready to find the perimeter. So our perimeter would be all three sides added together. So we have 30 here. We have the square root of 75, which is approximately 8.66. So 8.66. And the square root of 975, which is approximately 31.22. So we're adding our three sides here to get roughly 69.9 meters. And now we're ready to find the area. So our area is half of our base times our height. So our base would be this side, and our height would be the side perpendicular to that. So if we substitute in, we would take half of 30 times the square root of 75, or 15 times the square root of 75. So 15 times the square root of 75 is approximately 129.9. And since it's area, that would be square meters. On number 15, we have this parallelogram. So to find its perimeter, we know these two sides are both 40, but we need to find these two sides, which will also be congruent. So to find this side, we have a right triangle, and where we're looking for the hypotenuse. So we can call these other two sides A and B and use Pythagorean theorem to solve for C. So 28 squared plus 38 squared is equal to C squared. So we would have 784 plus 1,444, which is 2,200 228. So we would take the square root of that, which is approximately 47.2. Now that we know what these two sides are, we can take all four sides and add them up. So 2 times 40 plus 2 times 47.2. So our perimeter is approximately 174.4. And that is meters. And we still need to find our area. So our area is our base times our height. Our base could be any side. So if we call this side the base, then we would just want the perpendicular segment to the opposite side. So that would be this length. Since this is a right angle, this would be our height, measured from here to there. So we have 40 times 38, which is 1,520. And that's measured in square meters. On number 17, we need to find the area of this parallelogram. So let's go ahead and call this side our base. And therefore this length would be our height. Because it is perpendicular to the base. So notice in this triangle, we have a 30-degree angle, which means we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, and we know the hypotenuse. So in a 30, 60, 90, if you know the hypotenuse, take half of that to get the short leg. So our short leg would be 15. To get the long leg, we multiply the short leg by the square root of 3. And that's always the case in a 30, 60, 90. So our area will be our base times our height. So just use your calculator and take 28 times 15 times the square root of 3. And that rounds to 727.5 square feet. For number 19, our base would be the same as this length, so we could call this our base. And we just need the height, so the perpendicular distance to the base. We notice that we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, even though it doesn't look like it is. It says that right here. So in a 45, 45, 90, the legs will be congruent, even though this is not drawn to scale. This is 10.1. Therefore, this is 10.1, and that's what we need to know. So simply take 33.5 times 10.1, and you wind up with 338.4 square centimeters. On number 21, our base of the parallelogram is 20. Our height, we have a right angle here, so the perpendicular segment to the other side is 24. That's our height. So 20 times 24 gives us 480 square square meters for our area. Number 23, tornado watch areas are often shown on weather maps using parallelograms. What is the area of the region affected by the tornado watch shown? Round to the nearest square mile. Alright, on this problem, I believe we need to use a little bit of trig. So, if we draw the height in here, we need to figure out what this angle is. So if we have a right angle, we would take 116 minus 90. For that angle, we would have 26 degrees. Now we're going to use that angle to find the height. So basically, if I split this triangle off here to have a better look at it. We have 158 along our hypotenuse. We have an angle of 26 degrees. And we want to find this side, which is going to be the height of the parallelogram. So from this angle, this is our hypotenuse, obviously. And this is the leg adjacent to the angle. So that's our adjacent. Using SOHCAHTOA, we have to use adjacent and hypotenuse to figure out h. So we would use cosine. So the cosine of 26 is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Put this over 1 and cross multiply. 1 times h is h. And we have 158 times the cosine of 26. Using a calculator, we get approximately 142. So our height is 142. Our base is the same top and bottom, so that is 394. So take 394 times 142, and we get 55,948. Square miles. Number 25, the height of a parallelogram is 1/4 of its base. So the height is equal to 1/4 of the base. If the area of the parallelogram is 36 square centimeters, area is 36 square centimeters, find its base and its height. So the area, which is base times height, so we would take base times height, where height is 1/4 of the base. And then we solve this equation. So b times b is b squared, so we have 1/4 b squared is equal to 36. Multiply both sides by 4. And we get 144. And take the square root of both sides. And b is equal to 12. So our base is 12 centimeters. Our height is equal to 1/4 of our base, which is equal to 3 centimeters. And just to double check, 12 times 3 is 36.